You thought everything was normal, maybe even perfect. She smiled at you. She laughed at your jokes. She stayed around longer than she needed to, and yet somehow things never moved forward. No confession, no clear signal, no moment where everything just clicked. And now, looking back, it's hitting you. She was showing you signs all along. You just didn't see them. This is one of the most frustrating realizations a man can have. Because the truth is, women rarely express attraction in obvious, direct ways. Instead, they communicate through subtle cues, especially body language. And if you don't understand these signals, you miss opportunities. You hesitate when you should act. And sometimes you lose her without ever realizing she was interested in the first place. But here's the reality most men don't want to hear. It wasn't that she didn't like you. It's that you didn't notice how she showed it. Women are emotional communicators. Their attraction isn't always spoken, it's felt, shown, and expressed through small, almost invisible actions. A glance that lingers a second too long, a shift in posture when you walk into the room, a nervous touch, a subtle smile, a change in tone. These are not random behaviors, these are signals. And once you understand them, everything changes. You start seeing what other men miss. You stop second guessing yourself. You become the guy who just knows when she's into him. In this video, we're breaking down 3 powerful body language signals that she was giving you, but you didn't recognize. And trust me, once you hear these, you'll start connecting the dots from your past. Moments where she was trying to get closer, moments where she was hoping you'd make a move, moments where she gave you the green light and you stayed still. But don't worry, this isn't about regret. This is about awareness. Because once you understand these signals, you'll never miss them again. You'll walk into any interaction with confidence, you'll read her energy without needing words, and most importantly, you'll stop letting opportunities slip through your fingers. So pay close attention, because the next time a woman shows you these signs, you won't be the guy who didn't see them. Let's start with the most powerful yet most misunderstood signal of all, her eyes. You probably remember moments where you caught her looking at you. Maybe it happened across the room. Maybe during a conversation. Maybe even when you weren't supposed to notice. But here's where most men get it wrong. They think it was probably nothing. They assume she looks at everyone like that. Or worse, they look away too quickly and miss what was really happening. But the truth is, when a woman is attracted to you, her eyes don't just look, they linger. This isn't a normal glance. This is a look that stays just a second longer than necessary. And that extra second? That's where the signal is. Because attraction creates focus, interest creates attention, and attention reveals itself through the eyes. When she's into you, her brain naturally locks onto you. She studies your face. She notices your expressions. She watches how you move, how you speak, how you react. And she doesn't even realize she's doing it. Now think back. Did she ever hold eye contact with you? Just a little too long? Did she look away slowly instead of instantly? Did you ever catch her staring and instead of panicking, she gave a small smile? That wasn't random. That was interest trying to get your attention. There's another layer to this that most guys completely miss. When a woman maintains eye contact, especially during silence, she's not just looking, she's inviting you to say something, inviting you to step closer, inviting you to break that invisible tension. But instead, many men break the moment. They look down, they get nervous, they laugh it off, and just like that, the connection disappears. Because from her perspective, that moment was a test, not a harsh one, but a natural one. She's thinking, does he feel this too? Will he do something about it? And when nothing happens, she pulls back, not because she lost interest, but because she felt like you didn't see her signal. And here's something even deeper. Women often use eye contact as a safe way to express attraction without risking rejection. She's not going to walk up and say, I like you. Instead, she creates these small windows of opportunity, moments where everything slows down, moments where the energy shifts, moments where, if you're aware enough, you can feel it. But if you're distracted, insecure, or unaware, you miss it. And the worst part? You don't even realize you missed it. So the next time it happens, because it will, don't ignore it. Hold the eye contact. Stay present in the moment. Let that tension build instead of escaping it, because sometimes a single look says everything she's too hesitant to say out loud. Now let's talk about something most men completely overlook, because it doesn't look like a signal at all. It looks like coincidence. She sits closer than before. She stands near you even when there's space elsewhere. She leans in during conversations, even when she doesn't need to. And your mind says, she's just being friendly. But here's the reality you're missing. People don't reduce personal space without emotional comfort or hidden attraction. When a woman is not interested, she naturally maintains distance. It's unconscious. She will keep space between herself and men she feels neutral about. But when she is interested, that space starts disappearing, slowly, subtly, naturally. She might sit next to you instead of across from you. She might choose the seat near you in a group setting. She might stand slightly closer than normal during conversations. And the key word here is this: gradual, because it never feels sudden. It feels natural, which is exactly why men miss it. Now, here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Her body is doing what her words won't. She is trying to feel your presence more closely. She is subconsciously creating intimacy through proximity. She is testing comfort levels without saying a single thing. And if you pay attention carefully, you'll notice another detail. When she gets closer, she often doesn't pull back immediately. She stays, even if there's no reason to, even if she could easily move away. That staying is important because it shows comfort, and comfort is one of the strongest foundations of attraction. But there's another layer most men completely miss. She will often find excuses to reduce distance. She might lean in to hear you better, even when she could simply ask you to repeat yourself. She might show you something on her phone from close range instead of handing it over. She might adjust her position just slightly to be nearer to you. None of this is random. These are subtle, subconscious behaviors driven by interest. But here's where men lose the moment. They don't respond to it. They don't acknowledge it. They don't mirror it. They don't build on it. They just sit there, unaware that the gap between them and her is literally closing itself. And when you don't respond to that energy, she starts to retreat, not instantly, but gradually, because attraction needs confirmation, energy needs direction. And if nothing happens, she assumes you're not reading the signals, so she pulls back. And later, you're left thinking, she was so close. What happened? What happened was simple. You didn't recognize what closeness actually meant. So from now on, understand this clearly. When she reduces distance without reason, it's not random. It's communication without words. And if you learn to notice it, you'll start seeing a pattern most men completely miss. This is the signal most men misread the most, and because it doesn't look like attraction at first. In fact, it can look like the opposite. She gets slightly nervous. She adjusts her hair more often. She fixes her clothes, her sleeves, her posture. She becomes a little more aware of how she looks when you're around. And instead of recognizing it, you might think she's uncomfortable or she's not interested. But here's the truth most people miss. When a woman becomes more aware of her appearance around you, it often means you matter to her. Because if you didn't matter, she wouldn't care. Let that sink in. When a woman is emotionally neutral, she behaves naturally. She doesn't overthink her posture. She doesn't adjust her hair repeatedly. She doesn't suddenly become aware of how she's sitting or standing. But when attraction enters the picture, everything changes internally. She starts to see herself through your eyes, and that creates a subtle nervous energy, not fear, but awareness. She wonders, without even realizing it, do I look okay right now? How am I coming across? What does he think of me? That internal dialogue shows up physically. She might tuck her hair behind her ear repeatedly. She might fix her outfit even when it's already fine. She might straighten her posture the moment you look at her, or she might suddenly become a bit more quiet than usual. And here's the key detail. These actions increase when you are paying attention to her, not when she's alone, not when she's with others, but specifically when she's aware that you are watching. That's not insecurity. That's emotional investment forming. Because when a woman starts caring about how she appears in your presence, it means your opinion has value to her, even if she hasn't admitted it yet. Now, here's where most men make a critical mistake. They ignore it. Or worse, they misinterpret it as disinterest. But real attraction is not always smooth confidence. Sometimes it comes with tension, slight nervousness, small adjustments, subtle self awareness. And if you don't understand that, you completely miss the signal. There's another important layer here. She becomes more reactive around you. She laughs a little differently. She reacts a bit faster. She becomes more expressive, or sometimes slightly reserved. It depends on her personality, but the pattern is the same. You are affecting her behavior, and that is never random. People don't change their body language for someone they don't care about. So if you ever noticed a woman acting slightly different around you, more aware, more careful, more present in how she carries herself, that wasn't nothing. That was her trying to manage the impression she's making on you. And most of the time, she hopes you notice her noticing you. But when you don't, the moment passes, the tension fades, and the opportunity quietly disappears. So remember this. Sometimes attraction doesn't look bold or obvious. Sometimes it looks like a small adjustment, and that means everything. Now that you've seen all three body language signals, eye contact that lingers, closeness that increases, and nervous self-adjustment, it's time to connect everything. Because individually, these signs can feel small, almost meaningless, easy to ignore. But together, they tell a completely different story. They reveal something most men never realize in time. She was already emotionally engaged, you just didn't notice it. Let's break it down simply. When a woman is interested, her eyes start seeking you out more often. Her body naturally moves closer to you. Her behavior becomes slightly more self-aware around you. This is not random. This is a pattern. And patterns are what separate guesswork from understanding. But here's where things get even more important. Women rarely give one single obvious signal. They give a combination of subtle ones. That's why so many men miss it. They wait for something clear, something spoken, something undeniable. But attraction doesn't usually work that way. Instead, it builds quietly in layers. A look, then another look. A small step closer, then a moment of staying near you. A subtle, nervous adjustment, then repeated awareness of your presence. And if you are not trained to see these patterns, you dismiss them as coincidence. Then later you wonder, why did she lose interest? Why didn't it go anywhere? Was I imagining it? But the truth is often the opposite. She wasn't losing interest. You just never confirmed it. Because attraction in women often needs response, not pressure, not forcing, but awareness. When she gives signals and receives nothing back, her mind interprets it as lack of interest from you, so she slowly withdraws. Not because she stopped liking you, but because she assumed you didn't see her. And that's the part that hits hardest later. Because in hindsight, everything becomes clear. The moments replay in your mind, that eye contact you avoided, that time she sat closer and you didn't react, that nervous energy you thought was random. It all starts making sense. But here's the important part. This isn't about regret, it's about recognition. Because once you understand these signals, something powerful happens. You stop guessing, you stop doubting, you start observing, and that changes everything in how you handle relationships. You become more present in conversations, you become more aware of energy shifts, you stop missing the subtle invitations people naturally give, and most importantly, you stop letting opportunities pass you by simply because they weren't loud enough. So here's the final takeaway. Attraction is not always spoken. It's often shown, quietly, repeatedly, subtly, and the men who understand that are the ones who never say, I didn't see the signs. They see them, they read them, and they know exactly when something real is beginning.